heaviest smoker of cigarettes?
Oh my God. I'd probably have to be Sandman. Sandman or Balls. Uh, yeah, because Sandman wasn't too bad with there's some people who just smell like a walking cigarette, and he never really smelled like cigarettes, but he smoked a lot. Mahoney smoked a lot, so I'd probably have to say those two. I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out, but when as far as being in the locker room, being around the boys, and ECW was probably the only place I was really around smokers because nobody's lighting up backstage at WWE except for maybe Jack Lanza or something like that. But
The late Jack Lanza as well died a
rest in
few days
peace.
ago. Yeah, spoke with Jerry Briscoe on Friday, and he had a load of stories for him as well. So that was an
Oh,
enlightening but yeah.
I love Jerry Briscoe, Meanie. Meanie, we know it's your first time here. You're not used to, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Uh, I've told the story plenty of times where my first weekend into WWE, uh, I debuted in Philly, and then we're going to do Baltimore, and I want to say Hartford, Connecticut the next day. So being a guy who's done indies and worked for ECW, I wasn't used to flying. So I was like, I'll just drive the loop. I'll drive from Philly. I'll do Baltimore, right for Baltimore, drive straight up to Connecticut, do Raw, come home, you know? And this is when they were doing, uh, they would do live Sunday Night Heat. They do a live Raw. The next day they would tape the following week's Raw. Cool. So, I and eventually Earl Hebner walks on me and goes, "No, we fly you. You'll fly to Connecticut." Okay, cool. So he gets with me. Okay, your flight's booked. So I debut in Philly, go to Baltimore, I retire Mark Marrow. Uh, um, and then we go to the airport the next morning in Baltimore to fly to Hartford. And I get there and I'm looking at my ticket. I go, 1A. That's like right up front of the plane, ain't it? I go, yeah, 1A. That's pretty up there. And I'm thinking 1A is like
Oh,
the.
first class.
I'm thinking I'm the row behind first class. I figure first class is just first class. I think 1A is, I'll have some leg room. Won't be anybody in front of me. There'll just be that wall. No, I was in first class. So I get to the plane. I go, I'm looking. I'm like, oh my God, I'm done. So I try to be as inconspicuous as a 350-pound man with blue hair can be. I sink in my seat, and it's me, Big Boss Man, Shawn Michaels, and maybe one other person in the first row. And I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, put up the airline magazine. But like, you see people walking in, they're like looking at me like, giving like, oh, like looking at it's like, oh my. But I didn't know I knew I was in trouble. Mick Foley walks through the door and he just looks at me and goes, oh no. Oh, Meanie, no. What, Mick? What? What? Take me with you, Mick. Help me. Help me. Meanie, no. It's like a scene out of a horror movie. No, what are you doing? And so the flight takes off, and like you hear from the back of the plane, why the bleep is the blue Meanie in first class? And I'm just like, oh my God. If there was a door right next to me, I'd just open it and just, go out, do the nesty plunge, dive out. But we land in Hartford. Everybody at baggage claims give me the eye. I'm traveling with Al Snow, Mick Foley, and Bob Holly, and I'm just a wreck. I'm like, guys, how bad is it? Somebody gonna poop in my bag? And Bob Holly goes, I don't think we poop in bags anymore. Yeah. Oh, that's a relief.
Well,
No pun intended. So we get to the building, and I get called into this like little side room, and it's Jack Lanza, and Jerry Briscoe. And I think Bob Holly came along for whatever reason, but Jack and Jerry kind of like were like, hey, we know you're new here. We know you're not used to traveling, but the next time, offer your seat up to a veteran, you know. And D'Lo Brown had said that to me at baggage claim. I was like, if it was me, I would have gave my seat to a veteran. I was like, I could have used this knowledge like 2 hours ago. But Jack Lanza and Jerry Briscoe kind of let me off the hook. And hey, we know you're new here, man. And I knew next time offer my seat to a veteran because after the whole one night stand thing with JBL, they brought me back to WWE in Sacramento, and we did a show July 4th, 2005. We wrestled. I had my match with JBL. And then everybody was flying out in the red eye right after the show. So we all rushed to the airport. I get my ticket. I'm like, oh, you got me again, first class. So I'm like, hey, Ricky Steamboat, how would you like to sit in first class? Oh, Meanie, I'm good here. Take the seat. I think I've been either Ricky Steamboat or I think I got talked Tony Gurria into sitting in the first class. But that's one of the things, fool me once, you know. But the second part of the flight, I sat in first class,
Don't blame me. I don't blame you. Do you know, actually, that sort of leads into one of the other things I was going to ask you was when you were with the WWF, certain road agents were more in favour than others for getting advice from. If there was like a ranking list of agents, where would you place the best? Who would you place the guy who would fine you for being 2 seconds late?
As far as agents, I would have to say, Lanzo was great. One of the best agents was Terry Taylor because he was just brutally honest, and it's always weird because each agent was different. Me and Goldust wrestled the Hardy Boys on Sunday Night Heat, and unfortunately the night Owen passed, but I come back, me and Goldust and the Hardys come back from the match, and we feel great. And Terry Taylor, pulled us aside and tore the match apart. But then, like 2 seconds later, after Terry Taylor tears us apart, I'm walking down the hall, and here comes Jerry Briscoe. Hey, Meanie, great match. So I'm just like, one guy just said, everything we did was the original switch, and then Jerry Briscoe goes, great match. So it's like, which way do I go? Which way do I go, George? Which way do I go? It's very confusing. So, I never really had a set agent, but I like Terry because he didn't sugarcoat anything, and Terry Taylor was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. I was a huge mark for Terry, especially UWF Terry Taylor, who was just brutally honest. Jack Lanza, probably one of the funniest agents. Well, me and Godfather were going over a match, I want to say in Texas at the Compact Center, and we're calling this stuff, and Jack comes over and goes, you're doing too much. Let's go out, do this, that. We went out, and everything he said worked. We kept it simple. We were going out there trying to have a barn burner, or Godfather's burn more than barns. He likes to light them up. So, I love the Godfather, but Jack was like, yeah, these guys are doing too much. Keep it simple. And we did. And, for the spot we were on the show, it worked out.